And welcome, everybody. We are live with Emily Fonda.
Hi.
Say hi to Emily, guys. Emily plays Anne-Marie on an episode called Black in season 10. So welcome, Emily. How are you?
Hi, I'm fabulous. Thank you for having me.
Is Peppy with you?
He is. He's right here. So
Anne-Marie on an episode called Black in season 10. Welcome, Emily. How are you? It's never a party until I fail to turn off my mute. I do that every time I do this. So anyway, now that I've embarrassed myself yet again. Let's talk about your path to becoming an actress. It wasn't a very direct, this is what I'm going to do when I grow up, and I'm just going to jump right into it. So how did this happen?
How did I become, or how did I start acting?
How did you start acting? Yes.
I think it's something I've done since I was little. I, always kind of looked for that opportunity to be on stage. I have two older sisters who were both dancing when I was a child, and so pretty much as soon as I could walk, I started to dance, and then I went into singing, and then into drama classes, and I used to put on Christmas musicals for my family. I joined the community theatre. I was in every single school play and musical, and I don't know, there's just something about being on a stage that I've always been drawn to, and whether it's making people laugh or cry or just feel some kind of emotion, I think that's now why I enjoy doing it. And I think that's why I've stuck with it, because I think if it's not something you love and it's not part of your soul, I think, as being, and you need to function, I don't think I would be doing it. But yeah, I think that's why I started. I just love it. I think there's something about discovering characters and exploring different emotions and making people feel different things. I think that's one of the coolest things about being an actor.
And the storytelling aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, you've done both big screen and television. You were in 50 Shades of Grey, you were in Big Eyes, you were in The Tomorrow People, and some show called Supernatural. I have no idea what that is. But do you have a preference over stage or big screen or little screen?
I think they all come with their own pros and cons. There's something about being on a stage and being able to feel that audience reaction right there and then, and you feed off of that. I haven't done any stage in a long time, and it's definitely something I miss and would probably go back to, but it is a long commitment to join the run of a play and things like that, and it would take me away from film and TV, which has been my focus for a number of years. And then I think just the difference between film and television is, I think with a film, you've got your story arc right up front. So you know where your character begins and where your character ends at the end of the story. So you can build it throughout that journey, whereas on television, and you're getting scripts week to week, so you don't know what's happening with your character or where they're going. So it's you're kind of living in that journey along with the audience at the same time. So I think they all... Pardon?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just saying that's a very interesting point. No one's ever brought that up before.
Yeah, I think it's moment to moment with television, and film, it's all up front. And often with film, from the audition, you have the full script to read. So from the get-go, as soon as you start working on a character, you know where it's going. So there's definitely benefits to that. But I think there's something in the spontaneity of being in television and where it could go. I think is one of the funniest interviews I've watched with, I can't remember his name, but he's on Scandal, and he says it was his big break, basically. And he said every week he got the script, he would go to the last page and see if he was still alive, because he just wanted to know how long he was going to be in the show for. And I think that's something that comes to television, is you don't know really. I mean, you get a general idea of how long you're going to be in it for, but I think that was always made me laugh. Like, yeah, well, I think that's pretty indicative of not knowing where you're going to be or how your character's going to go or who the next love interest is going to be or what. So, yeah.
Well, do you have a particular highlight that you'd like to share?
Highlights.
Highlights.
This is tricky. I've got a lot of highlights. I like to think of every opportunity I've had as something that I've never expected to have ever had. But I think for me, up until this point, it's definitely was probably Big Eyes. That was directed by Tim Burton and starred Christoph Waltz and Amy Adams. And having the opportunity to work with them all together in one room was very intimidating, but at the same time, it was amazing learning and watching from their own experiences how they work in those situations. And just, you know, I'm like a sponge when I'm on set. I just want to absorb everything that everybody's doing. And Tim Burton is so eccentric as a character in life. And, you know, I guess that's why he makes such amazing films and shorts, and I think his imagination is wild. But I think that was a night shoot, and I got to work quite closely with Christoph Waltz. So I think that was pretty special for me.
Oh, that's amazing. Excuse me, that you were surrounded by creative genius.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds like that would be a highlight for me too. We have a question in the chat room, and it's from Rogue, and she's asking, if Supernatural more fluid than other TV shows because the cast has been together for so long? So I want to just ask for some clarification. Do you mean, Rogue, are you talking about the chemistry amongst the cast being more fluid than in other TV shows, or just in general the mechanics of how the show is put together? So while you clarify that, I'm going to go to my next question.
I'm going to turn my light on because I realize the sun's going out really quickly.
Okay. So, Rogue, you're going to clarify that for me? Okay. Oh, okay. Destiny has a good question, too. Oh, I see what you're saying, Rogue. Rogue's saying because the cast has the ability to drive the script. Okay, so we're going to go back to that in a second. Okay, so I have clarification on what Rogue was asking, and she's asking basically because she's saying that the cast has the ability to drive the script on Supernatural, and is that your experience on other shows as well, or is this something unique to the Supernatural series?
I'm not sure. I think that probably comes with the timing that it's been on. I mean, Supernatural is one of the longest running shows, I think, on television today. Not a lot of shows go to 12 seasons. So I think once you get to that probably 7th or 8th season of a show, then you know exactly who the fan favorites are and where the fans want shows to go and where the ratings are coming from. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the ratings and who's watching. So try to appease that as much as they can. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky one.
Rogue comes up with some tricky ones. She's a stumper. She watches every week, and she always comes up with these really thought-provoking. Rogue, I just want to let you know my brain's not really fully on yet. I'm still recovering from 2 back-to-back conventions. Destiny.
Concussion.
I'm sorry?
You concussion?
Oh, no, conventions. Last 2 weekends ago, I was working at Denver in DenverCon, and then I just got home last night from where was I? Pasadena, PasCon. I travel so much that it's just one big convention at this point. So yeah, I'm trying to unwire my brain right now. But Destiny Whitaker has a very good question for you, and she's asking if you have any advice for teenagers who want to be an actor or an actress.
Yeah, I think align yourself with someone who can mentor them. somebody who knows the industry, whether it's an acting teacher or a casting director or their agent, someone you can trust who's been through it. That was something I didn't have when I was younger and going through it. And it wasn't until sort of, I would say probably 6 or 7 years ago, that my acting teacher in Vancouver became essentially my mentor and still is today, enabled to give me the right tools to make the right decisions and to push me out of my boundaries. But a lot of it too is there's a lot of, I'm gonna say shady, I guess, people in this industry that might not be giving you the right information or gouging you for money or telling you to get headshots and spending thousands and thousands of dollars when you just, at the end of the day, you don't need it. You need the heart, you need the training, and you need somebody who believes in you that's going to represent you well. So that would be my advice, is just try and align yourself with somebody who's been through it and let their guidance guide you in making the right decisions.
That's excellent. That's excellent advice. And we have a question from Jen, and she's asking, if you get any role you wanted, what would your dream role be?
I hate this question. Sorry, Jen. I get asked this all the time, and I honestly don't know. I love characters that have a story. You know, I'm blonde, I'm young, I tend to fall into very dry characters in auditions. Thankfully, I've had a really great opportunity to work outside of that. But a lot of the auditions and a lot of the scripts that I read are for very one-dimensional characters. And something that has, whether it's a woman of strength or she's overcoming something or she has something in her past that she's trying to work through, those kind of get me. And then women that have strong relationships. So whether it's friends or family, men, those don't really tell the bigger picture, but I find the ones that have really strong relationships with either other women or friends or something that tell a different side of the story, those definitely get me going too.
Very cool. Yeah, I can imagine that's a very difficult question to answer, because I mean, it would be, you'd know when you have your dream role.
Yeah.
Right? That at that moment you would realize this is it. That's when things would mesh and click.
Mm-hmm. And I respond to the different material all the time. You know, I had an audition recently for a film that I just fell in love with. It was a romantic comedy. It was so well written, but the relationships, like, it makes it so real for you. And when you can attach part of yourself to a character, that's what I'm always looking for and striving for. And so when you can find good parallels between yourself and a character, then I think those are the ones that make it the most exciting.
Oh, very cool. Because then you're applying your own life experiences directly through, channeling it through the character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I like to do. So.
What was it like being on Supernatural? How was that compared to other shows that you've done?
I love their whole thing. I mean, they are so special because I had a very small role in season 7. And so that was my first experience. And that was my first speaking role, I think, or if not one of my first. And so I remember being really nervous for that. And because that was such a fun episode when they went through into a parallel dimension of
the French mistake, right?
Exactly, of being on the set of Supernatural. Everybody was in really high spirits, and it was just a fun episode for them to do. And I was in a scene with Lou, who is actually the stunt director on the show, and he was playing himself in the scene. And so when I went back and I was playing Anne-Marie, of course Lou was there because we were doing stunts. And so, you know, he was like, Emily, welcome back. And he knew who I was. And he was about a trip to Australia that I'd gone on 3 years ago. And, you know, I think that's just indicative of the people on the show, is they're very real and they're very friendly. And it's intimidating, I suppose, because they've been working together for a long time, so you don't know how you're going to fit into the mix. But they're so welcoming that you wouldn't even think it. It's just, you just get to become part of the family. So it's very cool. Very, very cool.
Well, if no one's officially said it, welcome to our supernatural family.
Thank you.
Welcome to our insanity.
The thing is that it's not just the crew or the cast on the show, it's the whole fan base. I mean, everybody is so cool and so welcoming, and I think it's awesome. I think it was so unexpected, the response to have gotten from being on the show. So thank you, and thank everybody else, because it really makes me feel good.
Oh, we're glad. We get so excited when we see new characters, especially a very strong female character, right? I mean, your character to me was in a bad place, but yet very grounded. She had no qualms about telling Dean what she thought and how she felt. Can you explain a bit about how you built her character, her backstory, maybe?
Yeah, I think with Anne-Marie, I think first it was the writing. I think Jeremy Carver was the writer of that episode, and he wrote an exceptionally well-written scenes for me as a woman. And then it was directed by Robert Singer. And so the two of them together, I mean, it put me already a step ahead when it came to actually discovering the material. But I think on the page, Anne-Marie was really tough and sassy and fun, and she was strong-willed, but there was a lot of scars underneath.
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of fun discovering, why she would sleep with Dean on her lunch break to begin with, what was her relationship with her ex, Matt, at the time, and how did that play into her state of mind. And, I think just discovering the different things about her as a woman and how, again, it related to me and things that I could bring out of myself to her and give her a journey in that short period of time was really important to me. And showing that, the way that Dean treated her wasn't going to define her, I suppose. That she works in a bar, she works in a roadhouse, she sees all these men coming and going, and she thinks she's pretty good at distinguishing who's a good guy and who's bad guys per the script. But at the end of the day, she is a woman, and she has feelings and emotions and towards people and towards men, and how those have affected her throughout her life, and why her sexuality is something that she plays on, but it also is a part of her that destroys her a little bit, because she's not putting it out for the right reasons for herself. So I think those were some of the areas that I played around with and explored for myself, and trying to make her come alive, I think, was important to me. So yeah, I had fun.
Well, what you did was extremely effective. We're getting comments here that, give us the women, we want the strong women. And Weirda, who writes, she was very real. And I think that that's a lot of why, we can relate so well to Anne-Marie as a character, because we've all, I think, as women, had at least moments where we've had Anne-Marie moments in our lives where we're not sure what to do, but we want to make people happy, and we go about it the wrong way. But then, we have to pull it back.
Mm-hmm. And I think, in that final scene where Dean really insults her, but he gets to the crux of what she's all about. And I think, for her, well, for me, feeling that was really real to me, because, I think that is such a horrific thing that you could say to a person, let alone another woman who you've just slept with, who you know, at the beginning of that scene, who's saying, let's go away together, let's run away together. By the end of it, he's pushing her away because he doesn't, you know, whether he's pushing her away because he doesn't want to hurt her or he's pushing away for other reasons because he was a demon. You know, you don't know. And so I think for me, it was just being in it and feeling what I would feel as a woman if someone said that to me. I think that was why it felt so real, because you can put yourself in those situations, and that's, I guess that's my technique as an actor. I don't know, but you know, I think it's what makes it pop a little bit more sometimes, if you make it real.
Your scene, that particular scene that you just described, the last thing that you say to him before you walk out that door stings, and it still, I mean, for me, I think about that a lot, about your delivery of that line that, you know, I'm so messed up that I'm probably going to think this is my own fault, or that I think I deserve this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, again, that's another reason why a lot of us do relate, because we've all had moments where we think that, you know, we don't deserve better, or, you know, yeah, I guess I made them do that. And it sounds like to you that that was a very powerful thing that you had to experience to deliver that line that way.
Yeah, totally. And I think having to deserve something or feeling like you deserve something, whether it's a good or bad thing, is not necessarily the right way to go about something. You know, like, it's deserving. I felt that word deserving was very crucial to that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow. That's all right. We're gonna shift gears now, because that was that's pulling us down. Let's go back up. Okay, we're gonna go back up, and it's going down not because of anything other than, damn, you delivered that so perfectly that it's affecting us that way. Yeah. Do you have any charities or causes that you'd like to talk about?
Charities I've worked, or causes, I suppose, really anything to do with women, funnily enough. I've worked with a Vancouver-based charity called Chimo Community Services in the past, and they have temporary shelters and accommodations for women and children fleeing domestic violence. And so working with them was pretty amazing to understand the lack of resources for women in those situations. And just as I was getting involved with them, a very close friend of mine was going through what they call an emergency exit from a relationship with her 2-year-old daughter that was violent. And so that really struck home for me, because, you know, she was fortunate that she had family and very close friends around her to support her, but there's a lot of women out there that don't have that. And so getting out of these situations was really tough for them. So that really affected me, and something that I wanted to be a part of. And then the other cause that I've been involved in since I've been down in LA is called the Hidden Tears Project. And that is a collective of actors and writers and producers and directors who've come together to raise awareness for human sex trafficking in the United States, particularly of women and children. And again, learning the statistics of this, it's horrific. It's something that I never thought was something that was happening in North America, and the amount of people that are being put into slave labor and sex slavery is disgusting. And the breadth of how far infiltrated these people are to take children out of schools and using social media to, you know, as catalogs almost for children. It's really something that I think needs to be made more aware of. So those are sort of two of the causes, I think, in charities that I work with. But I mean, actually, I worked with, I do public relations on the side, which is something that people might not know about me. That's my day job when I'm not acting.
Oh, tell us about it.
So I worked with a company called CHIMP, and they're called the Charitable Impact Foundation. And their motto is to give, when you give to charity, is to give with knowledge and to be empowered to give to something. So we're constantly being bombarded with charities and nonprofits and organizations asking for money to help their causes. And especially like when you go to the grocery store and you get asked for rounding up or asked for that dollar, and often you feel guilty if you don't give it. And then if you do give it, you feel guilty, or you feel a bit confronted about it, and you don't feel right about giving because you weren't giving with, you weren't empowered to give it. Right. So something that I took from that was, if you have causes or charities or something that's really close to your heart, research them, figure out where you want to contribute your money and contribute it to something that you care about, because otherwise you give sporadically and you don't quite know where that money's going. And there's a lot of charities out there that they aren't effective with their funds. You don't know where that money's going, whether it's administration or to the CEO living in a bazillion-dollar house riding around in his private planes. You know, I think it's empowering to know that you're working with charities that are actually spending the money on programs and services and actually helping people rather than running a corporation. So that's my little tidbit about charities.
That's an excellent point that you made. If you could email me links to those organizations, and I will update the YouTube description to include those links so that anybody watching this video wants to learn more, they can do one-stop shopping and just find it right here.
Totally. Yeah. And with Chimp too, if you go onto their website, they have a technology that's connected them to the Canadian Revenue Services. So they pull up all of the financial reports for every charity that's a registered charity in Canada. So you can see exactly how much money the Salvation Army is spending on programs, how much they're spending on administration, how much they're spending on all this kind of stuff. So you get an idea of where your money's going and how it's being funneled through. So yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
It's really cool technology, and I'm hoping they bring it to the US soon, which I'm sure they will because they're doing well. But yeah, it's a... Sorry.
And it gives them accountability.
Yeah.
You know, it gives organization accountability. They've got to abide by, you know, they can't fly under the radar. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I hope something like that comes here because, you know, I always, like you said, I'm in Goodwill and I round up. If I'm in, you know, Kroger and they have the donation box, they look at you funny if you don't. You know, I'm like, well, I wasn't prepared for this, but okay, since you're looking at me and I've got people behind me looking at me, I'm going to do this. But I do have other causes that I fully support that I've done extensive research on. But I understand what you're saying too, because when people are forced into those situations where they're supporting a cause involuntarily, and it could be, you know, misappropriation of funds, you know, we don't know what they're doing with the money at all. So yeah, I'd really like to learn more about that.
I think with those ones too, I'm like the ultimate skeptic too. Like if you're rounding up something, do you have the technology that can define what the donation was? Like, are you tracking that money? Is it possible to know, or a percentage of sales? Is it being tracked so that the right amount of money is going to the charities? So I just think, you know, if you can't afford it too, like if you're at the groceries and you've got $20 to go out and buy something, and then they ask you to give money and you're feeling that guilt where you're like, ooh, I should, but I don't get paid until next week or something like that. At least if you're giving your own time and you have the ability to do it for yourself, when you say no, you don't feel guilty. It's, I know where my money is going and how I give with confidence, I think. Yeah.
Very, very good advice. Thank you for that. I'm going to jump to our window because we've got some flurries of activity going on in here. All right. What's going on, guys? Just a lot of people expressing that it's important for them to know where their money is going. For example, we have Weirdo who wrote that she's been homeless and she's been homeless in her life, and that when she does have clothes that she doesn't wear anymore or things that she doesn't need, she gives them to a homeless shelter where she used to stay, and then she really feels better knowing where her donations are going.
My mom, this is what you look like.
I'm sorry. Yeah, hi. The video bomber is back. Please say hi to Emily.
Hi.
And she wanted to show me she lost her tooth.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. Where is it? Where's the? Oh, it's all the way in the back. Okay, cool.
Wow.
It didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt.
I hope the tooth fairy's coming.
Yes, the tooth fairy has to go see if she has singles. So,
do you like to leave it in here, like with towels, or?
you could just stick it under your pillow. Okay.
I'm gonna keep this.
Okay, you go for it.
Do I just put this inside here?
Yeah, you put it inside there. I gotta finish talking to Emily.
All right.
Go. I love you.
Bye.
Say bye to Emily.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, let's see. Oh, Rogue mentioned that there's something called Charity Watch, and she said that might be a U.S. compliment.
I think
Okay, let's see here. All right, so now we're going to shift gears, and I'm going to ask you to name the first 5 songs on your favorite playlist.
this one really stumped me. I have eclectic music taste. These are sort of my all-time favorite songs. I have Stolen Dance from Milky Chance, Mr. Brightside from The Killers.
I have that. Okay, cool. Okay.
The Dolphins Cry from Live. It's an oldie but a goodie.
Okay.
Feel So Close from Calvin Harris. You're the Best Thing from Ray LaMontagne. And anything Just Don't. I love Just Don't.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, besides The Killers, Joss Stone's the only other person I recognize from your list.
I don't know. I will dance, sing along to anything and everything. So I have different music tastes for different, if I'm exercising, it's generally like really house, electric kind of music to get me pumped up. If I ski and snowboard, so if I'm on the mountain, it's usually like rock or punk or something crazy.
See, now that's my speed.
Yeah.
That's my speed. I have, my kids, they can tell you anything about the Ramones and Green Day and the Clash and everything, and then I realized I'm giving them a very unbalanced diet of I need to broaden the horizons a bit, but
Classic.
they know who Joey Ramone is. I'm proud. But a weirdo who writes types in, "Oh my God, the dolphins cry," and she's in the Netherlands, by the way.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is a question that I ask every single guest that I have. If you were stranded on an island and you could only have one supernatural character with you for all of eternity while you're on this island, who would it be and why?
Probably Rowena. I think we'd get on pretty well. I like her sass, and I feel like she has some pretty cool magic tricks up her sleeve. So if she can't get us off the island, she could at least feed me.
That's a good point. That's a good point. What's really refreshing is that pretty much every woman that I've interviewed, they always choose another woman to be there with them. And I love that. I love that. I absolutely love that. They're not looking at, well, I want Dean because, well, of course I do. But, that my answer is Shaq.
Oh, no, you froze.
Do you have a quote that inspires you?
Oh, you're back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you lose me?
I did. I missed the last thing you said after Dean.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just am shallow like that, and that, and I just said that also. Though it's very refreshing to see that pretty much consistently, most of the women that I interview have also shown another strong woman to be their companion in that scenario I created. So it's really cool. I like that,
That's good to know.
and it just shows me how shallow I really am. And anyway. I wanted to ask you if you have a quote that inspires you or helps motivate you.
I do. It's from Layne Beachley, who's an Australian surfer. And it's, there are so many people out there who will tell you that you can't. So what you've got to do is turn around and say, watch me.
I like that. Mm-hmm. Can you tweet that after the show so that I can grab it? I love it.
Yeah, because it's true. Especially not even just this industry and other things, you know, there's a lot of people ready to knock you down, and it's one of those things where you just got to be committed to what you want to do and just be like, well, screw you. Watch this.
I love it. I love the watch me. Because I was expecting it to end with I can, but watch me has a whole other take on it. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So what I'm going to do real fast is I'm going to put a trivia question out there. And the first person that answers this trivia question correctly, no typos or anything, because I'm like that, they will win a $50 gift certificate to my shop just in time for the holidays.
Yeah.
So, and this is an easy one too. I mean, I went really easy. All right, so in Emily's episode of Supernatural entitled Black, there was an exchange between Dean and Crowley where they call each other bitch and jerk, which broke my heart, by the way. What did Anne-Marie say after that? Anne-Marie said something immediately after Crowley and Dean called each other bitch and jerk, and ruined many people's lives that night. So the first person who answers that correctly, no typos, wins a $50 gift certificate to my shop. And Weirdo Who Writes, she automatically, wow, you are a good woman. She wrote, get a room, you two.
Ah, I couldn't even remember what I said.
Okay, so you know how to contact me. Contact me, let me know. Put in the subject line, Emily Fonda, interview winner, and I think you've won in the past, so I think you know how this works. And Rogue is saying, that made Mark so damn happy. What, that they called each other bitch and jerk, or that she told them to get a room? What exactly made him happy?
Jackass right after that too. So that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because you said love you, and he said love you more, sweetheart, and then you said Anne-Marie Jackass.
Yeah, love you, Crowley. He says love you, sweetheart, and they say it's Anne-Marie Jackass.
Can I ask you a question?
Really?
I did not know you were Australian until we did that special edition of So Get This to talk about the ladies of Supernatural. Your accent, your American accent, is flawless.
Thank you.
I had no idea. And when we first did the interview, what was it, a couple of weeks ago or so, I'm like, oh, wow, she's Australian.
I thought that was common knowledge.
Australian.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I thought that was common knowledge, but no, I'm Australian. So I just tried to fool everything.
Did you develop the American accent on your own, or did you have coaching?
No, on my own. I mean, you have to, we grew up with American television, so it's pretty easy for us to kind of go in and out, which I think is why most Australians can do the American. But I mean, you do need to refine it. You need to practice it. So every time I was in class and reading scripts, I would always read with an American accent until I got, and you understand which words quickly people will pick out that you need to work on, or sounds or syllables. So, I mean, it is training, but never any formal training, I think. And then it was actually funny because Robert Singer, who was the director, he was in the audition with me. And so I did my audition, then I booked the part, and it wasn't until I was on set and I was talking with somebody and he came over and went, hang on a second, where are you from? And he didn't even know until I was there on set working, and I'd already been there for half a day or something, until he actually heard the accent and went, oh, there you go. Didn't know.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's always a good compliment to me because I know that I'm fooling everybody.
Well, you did. You totally did. Do you think that we'll see Anne-Marie again in some way, shape, or form? Are you allowed to say that?
I don't know. That's honest an answer. I think I'm not dead. Anne-Marie's still alive and kicking. So who knows? She might come back. She might not. I don't know. We'll see.
I always thought it would be interesting to have, because I think that whole thing's still a loose end as far as I'm concerned. Because now that Demon, I keep calling him Demon, now that Dean is no longer a Demon Dean is not around anymore. He is now Dean again. It would be interesting to see the interaction between Dean and Anne-Marie.
Yeah, I think so.
Without all that.
I think we could at least have another crack at the episode, and in an episode, and tie up some loose ends, and he can apologize to me, and I can send him on his way.
Exactly. You tell him where to go.
Yeah.
A rogue is saying, I think anybody that Dean is connected with will be a target of the darkness. Well, you just annihilated half the female population of the United States, and could potentially return to the show. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, what Rogue is saying is indeed that, anything that has a connection with Dean is a potential to be back on the show because the darkness would target that person.
Oh, I see. And especially because she was with him while he was a demon, then.
Right. Yeah, so Rogue comes up with the pithy, witty stuff. She thinks things through far better than I do, or ever will. So we're going to start winding down. So y'all get your final questions or comments ready, and I'm going to give Emily my last question, which is, actually it's not a question, just finish the thought. All you need is
love. That's so cliche, but I think
no, it's not.
What's happened last week and Paris, and there is a lot of strong-willed hate going on right now that I think a lot of people need to take a back seat and just give it a rest and just love. We're all the same. That's my thought on that.
Very well said. Very well said. It's not cliche. It's a fact. It's a fact.
I'm very angry at a lot of the things going around right now about what they're doing, but also generalizing people into categories, and it doesn't sit well with me. So show some love.
Very good advice. Sage advice. And we do. We have to spread the love in the supernatural family and spread it outside of the family too.
Definitely.
Let me just do one more check in our chat window, make sure we've addressed everybody. And okay, no, you're getting hearts from Rogue. She's sending purple hearts. Do you have any last words you'd like to share with us before we go off the air?
Just thanks. And you guys are all awesome. And feel free to reach out anytime. I'm a bit useless when it comes to being on my Twitter, but when I am on, I'll always respond to people. I'll always say hi. So, yeah, keep touch.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been so wonderful to have you, and I really, truly appreciate you taking time out to do this for us. I mean, this was so much fun for us, and they hope to see you back on the show one day, hopefully not to get killed. That was from But getting killed doesn't mean anything on Supernatural, right? I mean, that just means they have to write a little more of an elaborate script next time so that they can bring that person back. Or maybe not. Maybe it could just be a thing.
It'd be awesome. It would be very nice to be back. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
And then we also have the Supernatural Ladies Convention that, you know, we are hoping to have that happen. So hopefully you'll be a part of that as well.
I hope everybody shows their support to make it happen, because I think it's a great idea. And you'll have to send me some more information on it when you start getting details and dates and things, so that we can start sharing it around. And
oh, completely. Totally. I already have some stuff like that I can send you. So I'll be doing that over the next few days, pulling that together and talking to Cora and seeing what she's got lined up so far. But I want to thank you again, Emily. You're an amazing actress. We love you. Welcome to the Supernatural family. And we will definitely be having you back on as soon as you are willing and able. And I just want to say have a very good night.
Thank you.
And,
you guys.
I'm sorry?
I said, and you guys too.
Oh, thank you. And thank you to all for watching. We appreciate all of your questions and your comments. And hope you all join in next week. And we will, I don't know who's lined up for next week. But suspenseful. Actually, I do know who. I'm just waiting for confirmation. So just sit on that for a little while. How you like that? Okay, we're going to go off the air. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.